If you are in business, you may have come across the term dream boards. A lot of people will create these to kind of lay out their goals that they want to achieve and kind of see the vision of the direction they are trying to head. Well, a branding board does the same type of thing for your business in relation to the actual design and brand elements that you are trying to create around your business. I love branding boards, and I think it's a great way to really narrow in on the style you are trying to project through your website, your business cards, your social media, all of it tied together. I think when we create branding boards, they really help us narrow in and show us what our true style is. So this is mine, and this is something I'm going to walk you through on how to create through CANVA. Mine is pretty simple. At the top, it will usually have your logo or a style of something like a header, a logo, something that represents your business. I went ahead and just put in my little side tag that I have for my business. I always put, don't be a blank space in an online world. You don't have to put this here, but you can. I kind of like to add my little tag. You will go ahead and you will insert your hex color codes that you have chosen. I walked you through this training on day 1 of our 30-day training. So your hex codes will go here, the 3 main colors that you have chosen for your color palette. You will want to find images. Now, you can go ahead and go to something like Pixabay and pull free images that you're able to use for commercial use, which is really kind of cool. However you decide to select your images, this will be something that you will use that kind of creates texture in your business, a style that really represents yourself, something that turned you on to kind of your color palette that you were working with. I went ahead and add these as a rounded square shape, but we can go ahead and do them in several different ways. And then last but not least, you will select a handful of fonts that you really love and something that you want to put on your site or your business cards or your social media post, whatever it is, any kind of graphics you will be creating for your business, you will put them here. So let's go over back to CANVA. Now, if you're in CANVA and you're logged in, we are going to scroll down. Now, you can create this in several different ways. You can do it as a Pinterest graphic if you plan on sharing this on Pinterest. But for this tutorial, I am going to just do a general letter size. It's actually listed as food and drink menu. It's the 8.5 by 11. This is something you could obviously print off and use if you need to in any kind of situation. So this is a really good size to start with. This is exactly the same size that I have here. So we're going to pull this up. It'll take a little second to get there. Now, if you see it, it will have layout options over here, and this will be a blank white page. We are going to go ahead and keep it as blank white because we are going to be creating this on our own. So if we go to Elements, and if you go into Shapes, I am going to create the top, this part of my brand. So you can select, they have a bunch of free shapes. We'll just go ahead and click on the square because you can resize it. You can add any different kind of shape you want. And you simply are just going to kind of drag it into place and size it however you like. You can make this whatever size you want. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and we are going to change the color of this. So if you look right here, click on the pick a color. I'm going to add one because I have a specific hex code that I use. So I'm going to choose the F62633. See, there you go. We have this here. Now, I'm going to also add this section. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to add another square shape because I'm just going to size it. I'm going to drag this right underneath. I'm going to pull it over and put it into place. If it lapses over a little bit, that's okay because you won't see it when you save your design. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put my logo in. Now the one that I have saved specifically for this actually does have a background. Normally I choose not to, but I used it for something specific and I'm not going to play with creating one and trying to add a transparent background currently. So I'm just going to go ahead to my uploads. You can upload your own image here. Typically I'll have them created. I am going with, I believe I went with the simple one, the simple version, yes. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. And like I said, you can resize this into place. So I'm going to definitely make this quite a bit smaller. I'm also going to enlarge my view of this so I can really get a see for what I am doing. The great thing about Canva is it will give you these little lines that kind of tells you if you are centered or not. So I'll enlarge this a teeny bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to add this little text right here, and I'm going to use one of my font choices. I believe it's the oregano I used. So we're going to go to text, and I'm simply going to add subheading. I'm going to put don't. Okay, so now that we have this, you can go up here and you can actually select your font. They have quite a few to choose from. There it is. Okay, maybe I did use a different one. I really thought it was that one. That's okay. We'll just go ahead and play with it. We'll just leave it that right now. You could choose whatever font style you want to go with. I know I did have a specific one that I used in this, but it's been a little while since I created this. So you're going to go ahead. Now in here, I have it set as my actual color, this specific color, and then I went ahead and made this white. So if I do this, I'm going to select my color, and then I'm going to go back in and highlight blank space and choose white. Okay, now we're going to drag this up and we are going to center it. And I'm actually going to play with enlarging this. Maybe that's a little too big. You just kind of have to play with it, see whatever style you want to go with. It's just all about personal taste. Like I said, you're creating your brand yourself. So I am going to also try to italicize and see what that looks like. Nope. See, like I said, you'll kind of just play with it. That's what I love about Canva. Somebody said to me yesterday in one of my groups, and I loved it, one of my Facebook friends told me that she feels like Canva is like a coloring book to her now that she knows how to use it and she can go in and play, because it literally is so much fun once you get used to it. Okay, so now that we have that part created, we are going to add our little hex colors. So we're going to scroll down and you're going to go back to elements. And I am using just the simple free circles. So you just kind of have to size it. Now black is actually one of my colors. So I'm just going to set this. I'm not placing them quite yet. We're just kind of setting it. And I'm going to copy this to essentially be the same size. Now this one, I want to change to this specific coral kind of color. I'm going to copy, well, actually now that I'm using the white, I do remember I had to use something specific. So we're going to scroll down a little bit because I need that outline to try to represent that it is white. Let's see if this will work. Oh, perfect. Since this will obviously be a different size, I am just going to kind of play with it over the top just to see just to kind of size it back up, be essentially the same size. There, I think that's pretty close. Okay, now we're going to drag these into place. So this one, I'm going to start with and center it exactly where I want it to be. Now these ones, you're going to have to kind of eyeball it. Like I said, it's not going to be exact or perfect, but you try to get as close as you can. Try to kind of keep your spacing apart visually if you're trying to give it kind of the same appearance. You can get very technical if you want, but I don't think it's worth spending the time personally. So there you have it. There's my 3 spaces. Now we're going to add my hex code numbers. So you're going to go back to text, and we're just going to add a little bit of body text. Now my first one is the black code. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to add the little pound sign with 6 zeros. That represents my black. Now we're going to copy this. Actually, I think we'll just do it right now. Let's see. F62633. This represents my coral. And then we're going to add the white, which is really easy to do. We're going to add 6 Fs. Okay. So now you can go ahead and you can center this. It will center it by the image that's above it, which is great. You can also make sure they are aligned with each other. We can keep these large or small. I believe I made it kind of smaller so it didn't overtake the image. So we may want to go ahead and resize the font. Let's set this to, let's say maybe 12. Maybe try 10. I think I like 10 better. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and recent all the font. You could do this beforehand. You just kind of have to play with it and see what kind of look you want. I kind of feel it is a little too large because I want to focus on the colors themselves, not as much of the code. So just kind of recenter this and do the same thing with this third one. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, now I am going to add a line here. We're going to add our texture images and another line in our font. So if you go to Elements, you can go to Lines, and any of these are fine. I mean, you can kind of play with it. If you want to use something stylish, you could do a very simple line like this. You can make it as thick as you want. I don't believe I could resize this thin-wise. That's not going to work. You just kind of have to play with it. You could do something like this. I believe this may have been what I used when I did it. I am going to change this to black. Like I said, if something hangs over the edge, it doesn't matter because it won't be shown in your actual design when you download it. So that's fine. That works. I may drag this down a little just to give it a little bit of breathing space. Okay, next we are going to add our images, those texture images. So we're going to go ahead and you're going to go to Frames. I believe. Yes. I haven't done a branding board in a while, so I almost had to kind of refresh my memory. And you can look through them, see the different ones there are. I did like the one with the rounded edges a little bit better. I believe this is the one I used. Although I don't think it had the... Yeah, I think it actually did. So I didn't like the outer black box appearing with my images. So I went ahead and changed it just to white. That way it kind of blended in with the background. You can't even see it. So when you have an image here, and we will want 4 of these specifically, but we'll start with this. I'm going to go into my uploads. Let's see, I did this one first. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to click that. You're going to just kind of want to drag it into this. And the great thing about Canva is you can actually, if it doesn't come over exactly where you want it, you can double click it. You can double click the image and kind of move it into place wherever you want it to be set. And then once you're done, you click this little check mark and it will have it set. So we're going to copy this, create another, find the other image. I did this swirly one. Oh, I keep doing that, don't I? Okay, we're going to drag this over. You could double click it and kind of put it into place where you want it to be. If I make my image a little bigger, you can do, just kind of play with it. Find where you want it to set. I believe that looks good. Click on the check. See if I like that. I think this little black thing on the side kind of bothers me, so I'm going to reset it for a sec. Just to get rid of that. I know, so picky. Okay, next we're going to go ahead. We're going to create another one. We're going to copy this. I will find my next image that I used. Kind of funny, I'm not seeing it in here. In my uploads. When I have client builds, I have to resize all of the images when I'm adding them. So you see things in here, I'm so sorry. Don't think this was it, but we'll try. There's me clicking it again. Oh, here it is. Okay, we are going to drag this over to this one, move this over. I'm going to enlarge this because I want to just pull these colors out of it. Click the check mark. And my last one. Right there. There it is. We're going to go ahead and copy it again. I'm going to take my image and drag it over. Like I said, you can kind of size it where you want it. Let me see what I have. I think I have it just pretty basic. Right there. Click the check mark. When you're satisfied, you can kind of drag this over. So now we're going to start kind of putting these into place. They're all aligned with each other. You just kind of have to eyeball it. It's the only bad thing about this. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so we want another line. So I am just going to copy it and bring this one down. Try to give it kind of the same distance as the one above it. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, and the last thing we are going to add is font. So you're going to go back up to text, create subheading, and the first one, Architect's Daughter. I'll even choose it so will be right there. Okay, this is my first one. I'm just going to drag this down. The next one I have Fred Oka 1. I'm going to copy it. Change my font. Put that center. My next one is Open Sans Light. Go up here and change the font again. There we go. And last, I have oregano. Change my font up here. Okay, so you can kind of drag these into place if you want to bring it a little bit lower. Maybe give a little bit more space in between them. It's pretty easy to do. And there you have it. So if we go ahead and just kind of take a step back and look at it, there is my branding board. This is everything that represents my design style for my personal business. I am so excited to see what you guys create and what you find and narrow in on for your own style, because this will definitely help you when you are adding a lot of customization to your website, when you're creating your business cards, when you're creating social media graphics, and everything that you are needing for graphic design and just the overall appearance of your business. The branding board will really narrow in on your personal style. Well, that's it for the tutorial today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will chat again soon. Thanks.